Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Riot platforms. It is time for another update, and today we will be discussing about the new updated relevant areas of support for the continuation to the upside and the extension that we have witnessed since we managed to hold and follow through within the previous expectations, but we actually managed to do even more. Now before we get there, I want to go quickly through the larger time frame, and here we are still very much in an all-time downtrend where we are presented a risk of continuing this downtrend, where we could consider this an A wave down or a wave 1, doesn't really matter, but then we would have a possible correction here in a wave B, in which there is a chance we may have topped. We did push into the area of resistance, and we did technically fulfill all expectations for the correction, especially since we only formed a 3-wave structure to the upside. And we are going to watch for a possible extension both in a larger uptrend that could form, but also within this correction area, where we may push into something like an ABC. That is what we are tracking here in the white scenario, and then we could continue in our overall downtrend. Now, before we actually assume any such patterns, any such movements, we should actually track the internals, because we do still have the possibility to extend higher. And I also wanted to mention I made a slight change within the larger time frame, because in the yellow scenario we were tracking a possible impulse forming where we may have had a double 1-2-1-2 setup in this area, and technically it could still work out, but I personally find it so unlikely that I would prefer not to track it, and that I would prefer to overall track a larger leading diagonal that would be forming overall. Still a 5-wave structure to the upside, still a larger trend change that we would be expecting, but not within an impulse. Now in the shorter time frame we have been assuming this as the bottom for this movement, the correction that we have here in an ABC pattern, and from that point we have been tracking a possible 1-2 setup in this area, and we were looking for the follow-up wave 3. Now hopefully it does work out within this expectation, and it does have quite extended targets even for the ABC structure that we would be tracking within the white scenario, which is the more bearish interpretation. We could see the wave C get to even the 100% extension of the wave A, which is at around the $500 level. Quite extended targets possible on this chart, but we are presented here also with the risk of continuation to lower prices. There is technically no reason not to watch out for a possible ABC for an extension lower, and even of a 1-2, which could take us into a wave 3 already to new lows, but that is the scenario where we have already topped within this correction in the resistance area in red. Now if we happen to actually break down, if we don't manage to form this third wave to the upside in this area, it is not necessarily the end of the world. We may manage to form here an ABC and break down and form even a new low, and we may get a reset. It is very much possible, but we may, however, even still have chances to follow through afterwards, because the overall larger area of support would remain intact as long as we hold above the 78.6% retracement at the $1.5 level. So far we have gotten to the 61.8% retracement, and we have managed to create this reaction to the upside, and we may need to also be watching out, however. We may now need to watch out for a potential resistance area for an extension lower, where in that case I would be watching out at the levels between the $11 all the way up to the $40 level. Now even in that case, I would actually still prefer at this point to continue a little higher, even within an ABC pattern within this wave B in orange. I would actually still prefer to push to new levels, and that would be because within this structure I would be tracking it probably as an ABC pattern, and within this wave C I would like to see a 5-wave pattern to the upside. Now if we are to follow through here within the orange scenario, I would be watching out for a target at the 100% extension of the wave A, which is right around the $40 level, which is a bit of a warning sign. We may find it difficult to break that and even create a rejection there, but in this wave C. So far I only count 3 full waves, 3 waves complete, and I know it is a little bit overlapping. Yeah, we have a lot of areas of resistance and support, and it may be more difficult to read here on the larger time frame, but what we need to focus on at the moment is this small time frame area where we seem to be building either a larger, or not a larger, an additional 1-2 within the larger wave 3, or a wave C in an ending diagonal. The thing is, this movement to the upside cannot really be the wave 3 itself unless we really track this as a series of 1-2 setups in this area. That could work, but it is a little bit unrealistic, and in that case I would prefer to be a little bit more conservative and watch out for the other interpretations. Now, in the previous video we were looking for continuation to new highs in a couple of different ways, and what it seems has happened for the context that of what we are tracking now, well, we are still looking for the 5-wave move, and we did manage to actually extend this third wave, I believe, where now I believe in the third wave we still have here the 1-2, but then this would be an A wave instead of the wave 3, a B wave down here, and then I would track this as the C wave to the upside, and in that case I would be watching out for support here in a correction in a wave 4 at the levels between the $18.4 all the way down to the 61.8% retracement at the $12 level. Now, as long as we hold this level, we can still track continuation to higher prices and continuation to form a larger 5-wave structure. Now, if we are to form this movement to the upside as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and complete the pattern, I would expect to form an ABC structure within the 5th wave as well. If it does extend into something more bullish, we could actually see even a 5-wave move to the upside, which may allow for further extensions higher actually, where we may need to extend this wave 3 once again. But that wouldn't be a problem. That would actually be quite nice because it would decrease the probabilities of following through in an ABC pattern within this larger wave B. Small caveat, it doesn't completely invalidate the possibility of it being a wave B top even if we don't get a 5-wave move up. This doesn't need to be an ABC within the wave B, but it does make it easier to work with because the interpretations would be more distinct. But for now, there isn't much else to add here in the shorter time frame. I am watching out actually for a bottom relatively short because in this time frame we do seem to already have 3 waves down, something like an ABC, where within this wave C we probably have an ending diagonal where this could be a 1, 2, 3 complete, and now we may have a 4th and a 5th in this area. A little bit hard to read. It is quite choppy after all, but I wouldn't get too much into it anyway. We have certainly surpassed the ideal target for a possible ABC in this area, and we may need to just watch out for the bottom that may be forming within this wave 4. And an interesting area to watch out for, in my opinion, may be the 38.2% retracement, not extension, which is the $15.6. We have a small structural support in this area as well, but in the end we could, I suppose, watch out for other structural support areas, maybe like this here, around the 50% retracement, and then if we zoom out even more, we may find some more, but in the end, we need to look here in the shorter time frame for a more clear indication. We need to watch out for some divergences, but you have here the general area of support, and if we look here in the 30-minute and the 1 hourly, we do already start to see some divergences. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.